Recording in progress.
Yes, yes, yes. What's going on, family? What is up? What is up? What is going on, family? Good afternoon. Good evening. Hopefully, you guys are all having a phenomenal night tonight. It is your boy Abel. Super excited to be here with every single one of you guys as usual. It's another day we're able to come on here and ultimately prepare ourselves for this up and coming trading week that we have here overall. Before we even go ahead and get this thing started, family, go ahead and drop those locations in the chat. Go ahead and smash that like button one time as well for us. Go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed just yet. I feel like it's going to be another phenomenal week that we have prepared for you guys, or that I'm excited for overall. Definitely go ahead and locate in the chat, family. So we got Trinidad and Tobago in the building. What's up, Baltimore? Tony in the building. Tony, bro. We have to go to a Ravens game this up and coming year, Tony. But I don't know if you know, Tony, but it's going to be a phenomenal year for our Baltimore Ravens, baby. Let's go. So we definitely got to catch a game, man. We got Puerto Rico in the house. My guy Jude in the building out there in PR. What's going on? We got Muskegon in the building. Shout out to my family out there in Michigan. Appreciate y'all. I'm sweet. Let's go. Shout out to that boy Lou in the building. Free zone. What's the word? All right, big moves, definitely. Oh yeah. All right, we got Queens in the house. My brother Will. What's up? What's up? Hialeah in the building. Tampa, Detroit, Miami, Charleston in the house. We got the guy Austin in the building. What's going on, Austin? Good to see you in the building as well. It's your boy Short Hair Abel today. I chopped off the curls for a better world, baby. So we got Brooklyn in the house. Little bro Danny, what's up? Raleigh, Texas, Tampa in the building as well. Super excited to be here with you guys all today. Michigan, stand up. I appreciate y'all out there in Michigan. What's the word? Yes, family. Yes, family. Drop a 3 in the chat if you guys are excited for this up and coming week, family. Drop a 3 in the chat. Let me see those 3s in the chat if you're excited for this up and coming trading week. 3s in the chat, and we're going to get this thing started, guys, in about a minute or so. Right, but drop those 3s in the chat if you guys are excited for this up and coming trading week. Because I know I am. This is definitely going to be a very important week for sure. Especially when you look at the news that's on the radar for this up and coming week. Oh, baby. We got some big boy events this up and coming week, family. Right, we have the interest rate decision for the U.S. this up and coming week. And that's probably one of the most if not the most anticipated news event of the week, of the month, to be honest with you. Right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started now, family. Again, super excited to be here with you guys all. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If you guys could do me one favor, definitely go ahead and just smash that like button one time for us. It definitely helps us out tremendously. And we appreciate you guys ahead of time for doing that. But let's go ahead and get right into this, family. You know, we do have the man, the myth, the legend, my guy, Mr. Ray Baylor, with me to start off the stream. The rest of the team should be hopping on shortly. But let's go ahead and get through the news, and then obviously we can go ahead and see what the technicals are looking like going into this up and coming week. Right, so to start off on Monday, family, we don't have nothing too crazy on Monday. We have some PMI data over here for the U.S. at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, but for the most part, we don't really got nothing too crazy besides all those PMI data releases for Monday. Now on Tuesday, again, nothing too crazy. Maybe some consumer confidence will actually shake the markets overall. It's the only high impact news event that we have on Tuesday, consumer confidence, and that can definitely move the markets because depending on how the confidence of the consumer is, it could also give some insight as to how we tackle inflation, right, and how we tackle interest rates while trying to fight inflation, right? So that could be something on Tuesday, but for the most part, nothing too crazy in terms of the U.S. dollar. We do have those some CPI data coming out for the Australian dollar that can definitely some things are up. So if you are trading any Aussie pairs, please be mindful that on Tuesday, right, we are going to see if their inflation is continuing to trend lower or if it's pulling a U-turn and going back to the upside. As of right now, they're expecting their inflationary data to actually drop, which is going to be good for their economy over there. Right now, going into Wednesday, this is where the fireworks begin, family, right? This is where we really want to be aware of and we want to pay attention to, because whatever happens on Wednesday can absolutely dictate what's going to happen with a lot of the pairs that we're actually trading. Right? For an example, again, we have a lot of news on Wednesday, from building permits to new home sales to oil inventories, but the most important ones are the ones that are going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is the FOMC statement and the federal interest rate decision, and probably even more important is going to be the press conference that follows it at 2:30. Right now, again, this is important. Why? Because we're trying to see what the Fed is going to do, right? As a trader, as an investor, it is very imperative for you to be aware of what is happening with interest rates, right? Because if the Federal Reserve decides to raise interest rates another 25 basis points, then that just shows that we're still not finished fighting inflation just yet, right? Obviously, inflation has been trending lower. We actually just had even better data come out recently last week. That's also showing that, inflation has been, continuously trending lower. But if they decide to raise interest rates one more time for whatever reason, then that just shows how aggressive they want to be to get it back to that 2% level. All right. Right now it's around 3-4%. We're still about a percent away. But overall, we're definitely headed in the right direction. So what happens on Wednesday can influence what happens with the strength or the weakness of the dollar, can also influence what's going to happen with gold, which is definitely going to influence what's happening with the indices, the Nasdaqs, the S&P 500s, the US 30s. I know all those babies that you guys love trading, they are going to be influenced by whatever happens on Wednesday. Okay? As of right now, the rumor or the expectation based off of investing.com is that they are going to actually raise interest rates. Right now, our interest rates are sitting at 5.25%. They're expecting it to come out at 5.5%. Again, 25 basis point higher. And who knows if they're actually going to do it or not, right? So I want to ask you guys in the chat, family, right? What do you guys think is actually going to happen on Wednesday at 2 p.m.? Do you guys believe that the Fed, right, the central bank over here in the US, is actually going to raise interest rates another 25 basis points? Or has the data that we've been seeing, whether it's CPI, whether it's retail sales, right, or is the data that we have been seeing enough to actually make them continue to pause at that 5.25%? Right? What do you guys think in the chat, family? Honest opinions. What do you guys think? Right? Because I have my own, obviously, idea, my own bias when it comes to that. But that's just my opinion. All right? We honestly don't know. Nobody in this chat knows for 100% certainty what's going to happen, right? But we can use the clues that we've seen to help us figure out a potential bias, right? And that's really when the sauce of really the mental trader is not knowing how to just simply dissect this information when it comes out in real time, but it's more important to be able to dissect the rumors, right? What are the rumors leading into this event, right? Just because it's expected to raise interest rates 25 doesn't necessarily mean that it happens. So that's why we have to use all the data that we've been given, right, over the past week to 2 weeks, right? All we've been given, from the labor market data to the inflationary data to I mean every other data out there, to really come up with a bias overall. All right, so let's see what you guys are thinking in the chat real quick, right? I believe they're going to raise interest rates, raise. My opinion, they're going to keep going, skip, raise in August. I think they will pause and next time raise. So no data is too conflicting. Say he stayed the course. Okay. So it seems like everybody's expecting them to raise it another 25 basis point, with maybe 2 or 3 people thinking that they're going to pause. And to be honest with you, I mean, again, there's no wrong answer here, right? Because we know what Jerome Powell's going to do. right? We have our clues, right? We have some clues that we can, try to obviously use. So let's talk about those clues real quick. What clues do we have that can possibly sway Jerome Powell one way or another, right? Well, how was retail sales most recently? Retail sales 2 weeks ago came out a lot lower. That's great news, right? That's disinflationary data, which is what Jerome Powell wants to see. How did our CPI numbers come out yesterday? Right? Core CPI came out lower than expected on both a month-to-month and a year-to-year perspective. Again, that is disinflationary data, which is what Jerome Powell wants to see. Right? So overall, and I'm just obviously just thinking of retail sales and CPI because those are the most recent events that happened. Besides that, the labor market is still extremely resilient, which could be the only reason, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, the labor market is probably one of the main reasons why they do continue to raise interest rates. Because all the other indicators, from inflation, right, to retail sales, to even NFP that came out most recently as well a couple weeks ago, those are all leaning towards, a positive direction, right? Those are all disinflationary. But the labor market as a whole is still extremely resilient and could cause inflation to at any given moment spike up once again. So for that reason, although I do see that the stars are starting to align itself, right? And that inflation has been obviously in the right direction. I believe because we still have a very, very, very healthy labor market, I could see another 25 basis point rate hike. Just to pretty much put the nail on the coffin. It's just my opinion, right? Don't crucify me, right? Just my opinion. Because again, what they don't want to do is to continue to pause, which we already did a pause or a skip, whatever they want to call it, right? And when we pause, that could possibly start to see an uptick in demand for the goods and services that we purchase, which can ultimately cause inflation to start to go up again. And I don't think they want to continue to risk that, right? I think they want to go ahead and continue to get ahead of it and eventually say, you know what, enough's enough. We're not even going to play around with this. Let's keep on raising it another 25 basis point to put that nail in the coffin. And then overall, we could reanalyze the next meeting. But that is my opinion. I think that they do raise it another 25, but the main reason is because of how sticky our labor market has been. Because that's like the only thing that I could personally think of that will actually cause them to raise interest rates. Everything else has been really good. Again, CPI has been dropping, PPI has been dropping, retail sales has been dropping, NFP has been coming out a lot later, right? So we've been seeing a lot of very good data to support another pause. But I think because of the labor market and our unemployment rate still staying at historically, can probably force them to do, one more just to be on the safe side. Right? So that's my general opinion, family. Right? And I'm very interested to see what actually does happen overall. But let's see what you guys are talking about. Wait, what is Jim Cramer thinking they're going to do? Do the opposite? That's a great point, Mike. Right? I don't know what Jim Cramer is doing, but we definitely need to research that and definitely do the opposite side of what he's saying for sure. Let's see, they're gonna said so. Yeah, I mean, definitely, right? Powell is the big homie over there. Okay, Powell is the big homie, right? What's going on, TJ Patterson? I appreciate you, TJ. Good to see you in the chat. But overall, family, that is our major news that we have to be aware of, which is Wednesday. It is a big boy event, and it's definitely one that we need to 100% be focused on for sure, right? So I know I'm gonna be focused on it. I'm gonna be trading it. We will be actually going live on Wednesday to actually watch the news event come out live in real time right here on YouTube. And then we'll be able to, have more conversations about, what actually happened, right? Which that's going to be pretty lit. Now, going into Thursday, family, we do have some more interesting news. We have the ECB interest rate decision as well. They're expected to raise their interest rates to 25 basis points as well. So we'll see if this does happen or not here for the ECB, which is going to influence the euro. And then we have core durable goods and GDP coming out and initial jobless claims for the US dollar on Thursday. So Thursday morning is going to be a very volatile morning for USD pairs with durable goods, GDP, and the initial jobless claims all coming out at the same exact time. And then the last thing on Thursday is probably this Tokyo core CPI that I will be interested in. Right, it's the CPI numbers here for Tokyo personally to see if those numbers are dropping or if they're increasing. And then we have the interest rate decision as well for the Japanese yen, which is definitely something I'm going to be aware of, right? I want to see if they're going to finally leave negative territory or if they're going to continue to keep it at negative 0.10. But going into Friday, family, to finish out the week, we have some French GDP, some French CPI, some German CPI, and probably the most important news events of Friday are definitely going to be this core PCE price index and the PCE price index news event. You know, those are both inflationary indicators. Again, there's three main tools that we use to measure inflation: CPI, PPI, and then core PCE price index, right? Those are like the main three indicators or news events that we like to utilize to help us gauge inflation. And this one is important, guys, core PCI price index, because this is the one that the Fed actually prefers to use, right? When they're actually looking to see how inflation is doing, they actually prefer to come to this one, right, to see how this is doing from the month to month or even a year-to-year perspective. So definitely on Friday, this is going to be a big boy event, and we will be most likely going live inside of the premium community, right, to actually go ahead and trade this live together. But that is our news for this up and coming week, family, right? Again, so the start of the week is going to be a little light, right? There's not too much news, but on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're definitely going to be ending off the week with a freaking bang, all right, with how it's looking as of right now. All right, so that is our news for the week. What I'm going to take a look at is take a quick look at the dollar itself, and then I'll look at gold, and then I'll go ahead and pass it off to the rest of the team so that they're able to go ahead and give their thoughts and opinions on what they think the market is going to do as well. All right, so starting off with the dollar, family, very interesting, right? And again, we got on with us. So we do got the boy Ray and Kyle on tonight with us. So definitely be ready, fellas, because you guys are gonna go ahead and do your thing in just a couple minutes. I'm not gonna be on here for too long. But overall, family, the dollar is very, very interesting. Why? Because we finally did something. All right, we finally did something here for the dollar, and that was finally breakout. Right, last week we seen the dollar ended up losing a crap ton of strength. Right now, why did the dollar lose a lot of strength? Well, again, we have been seeing data that supports dollar weakness. Again, at first it was retail sales, and then it was CPI. And both of that data that came out supported a weaker dollar. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the data that came out with CPI and retail sales actually came out better than expected. Since it came out better and it came out and is being perceived that it's being good for the economy, all right, the dollar ended up losing value because people that were in the dollar during this period in time started to liquidate the dollar and started to getting into back into stocks, cryptos, whatever it is, right? Quote unquote riskier assets. So we've seen dollar weakness overall. Is this now going to last? Right? This is the question that we have to try to figure out, right? And this is a question that I also want to open up, to the rest of the team, right? To Kyle and Ray, right? I want to also get your guys' opinions on what you guys think the dollar is going to do in just a few seconds. But overall, yeah, we've seen a very interesting move here, guys. We've seen this thing finally break down below, finally took out, these structure lows right here, right? Probably grabbed a lot of liquidity from people that were probably looking to buy off of this support, right? And then we've seen the market now just push back up to, looks like just to simply retest, back up into structure. Now, family in the chat, I want to ask you guys as well, all right? What do you guys think the dollar is going to do moving forward? Right? And again, don't be shy, don't be scared to answer, because I can, even if I give you my bias, it could be 100% wrong, right? But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you guys think we're going to continue bearish here for the dollar? Or is this more so just a liquidity grab, right, that took out the lows, and then we see the dollar actually start to make way back up, right? Because keep in mind, we do have some imbalances and some inefficient price action a little bit higher to the upside here. All right, just throwing it out there. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm expecting a buy, but it is, some things to look for, right? We have some clues of where there could be some leftover money, right, that we could potentially go ahead and target. So what do you guys think? Are we just going to continue bearish, or are we going to turn around and possibly go bullish here? What do you guys think? All right, let me know in the chat. All right, let's see. We got sell. All right, shout out to you, Sylvester, for being the first to comment. I appreciate you. Drop, tank, drop. Whatever, which way it makes Bitcoin go is gone. Yeah. All right, if it is bullish, that's a lot of ground to gain. It is, 100%. I see. I think this makes sense with the upcoming rumor that the Fed is going to raise rates once more. So what is your bias, Eric? Are you bullish a dollar or are you bearish a dollar? All right, let's see. Chino, bull. All right. Brother O, bull. Dollar go burr. Bull, right? So it looks like there's a even mixture, right, between people that think it's gonna be bullish from those that think it's gonna be bearish. Matter of fact, let me actually go ahead and do this, right? I'm about to create a poll in the chat real quick. The dollar will be what? Bullish or bearish? All right, let me go ahead and ask that. All right, so I did just all right, go ahead and answer that poll real quick. Right, the dollar index will be what? Bullish or bearish this up and coming week? All right, bullish or bearish. So now let's go ahead and get into what I think is going to happen, right? And again, I'm making my decision based off of not just I don't typically make long-term decisions or long-term biases off of technicals, so more times than not it's going to be a fundamental bias for me, right? But overall, from a fundamental standpoint, I'm looking at the data, right? And obviously, it does depend 100% on what happens on Wednesday for the interest rate decision. But based off the data that we have had so far, I would not be surprised, right, if we actually did see this thing continue bearish. I could be wrong, and I'm pretty sure some of the guys might have a different perspective, which is why I love, this dynamic that we have here, right? Whereas, multiple of us that come on here pretty much express our thoughts and opinions. But for me personally, based off of the data that we have been seeing so far, I wouldn't be surprised if we start bullish but actually end up bearish. That's just my opinion. All right, don't hurt me. But that is, and I'm literally making it based off what I'm looking at from a fundamental perspective, right? Again, retail sales has dropped, positive news. CPI has dropped, positive news. PPI has came out lower, positive news, right? If they actually keep interest rates, right? If they pause on interest rates again, this up and coming week, right? Hypothetically speaking, again, they're expected to raise it. If they actually pause or they skip, they do another skip, then what I'm saying is absolutely going to play out, right? If on Wednesday they skip raising interest rates and they pause, then I'm expecting a lot of selling pressure here for the dollar. Now, if core price index, core PCE price index on Friday comes out lower as well, then I'm expecting the dollar to really just tumble like crazy, right? If we pause and then we see on Friday core PCE numbers come out a lot lower than expected, this dollar's going to hell. I'm just being honest, right? The dollar's going to hell. Right now, if the flip side happens, right? Let's say they do raise interest rates once again, right? And if they do, then yeah, I think that the dollar can, gain some strength off of that for sure, right? Because it's never a good thing when we're seeing interest rates. That means that the cost of money has now increased as well, which is gonna obviously continue to kill demand, which is the whole point of them raising interest rates. But overall, if they do raise interest rates, then I think we could see another little spike here in the dollar. I don't know how far it's gonna go. Right, we can go probably just take out this trend line here that has a ton of liquidity. We could probably even take out this the resistance level at the 108 levels, right, to maybe fill some of this imbalance. Probably a ton of liquidity up there. Who knows where it's gonna go, right? But if we actually raise interest rates, I do expect it to start going back up to the upside personally. All right, so that's just my general opinion, right? Now, I actually want to ask the rest of the team, right? Skaggs, or Skaggs isn't on here yet, but Kyle, Ray, from a technical perspective, all right? Because obviously I know you guys aren't too big into the fundamental side of things. So, from a technical perspective, what do you guys think the dollar's honestly going to do? Do you think the dollar's going to go bullish? Do you think it's going to go bearish? From a technical perspective, what do you guys think?
Um, I'm leaning more towards the bear side of things, but kind of like what you mean when you see liquidity being grabbed first. Um, that's what you would like to see. That's what makes the most sense because even if it makes a move before it takes any of the buy side liquidity, I mean that would be a little more on a riskier side for us to take a play on. But I don't see anything to the right or to the left, excuse me, that has me long term bullish or even short term to go clear those highs. So I mean, I'm anticipating for the market to probably just continue to drop. I'm not sure how far the retracement will go, but I'm just leaning more towards the bear side of things. I'm not really looking at many USD pairs this week, so I'm not really going to be too primarily focused on it, my personal opinion. But yeah, I feel like it's a safe assumption. It'll probably continue bearish. This is more of a break of structure to me than a liquidity grab. Even if it does retrace, I don't think it's a bottom. I think it's more of a lower low than anything.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. I'm definitely looking at it the same way as well. Kyle, what are you thinking over there, bro?
Yeah, I'm not in the business of calling bottoms, right? I'm not trying to look at this and be like, oh, it's the bottom just quite yet, especially since we haven't broken any major structure. This could be the bottom for sure, but I'm not going to call it as the bottom quite yet until I see some major structure breaks. So, in my opinion, I am leaning more towards the bearish dollar side. Obviously, there is the room for us to spike up a little bit more before we start getting that massive leg downwards. But nonetheless, I'll be looking more and leaning more towards bearish dollar trades. As soon as we hit the regions that are a little higher, of course.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Again, it seems like we are agreeing. I'm pretty sure if the boy Skaggs was on, he might obviously either agree or disagree. I honestly think if I know Skaggs, he will probably think, and again, I don't want to put words and thoughts in his mouth and in his mind, but you know, I think he probably thinks this is the low. All right, and hopefully he's able to jump on and clarify some things, but just looking at this from a Wyckoff type of perspective, this kind of looks like it's more so accumulating, right? Where this could be, the spring, and now we start to see this market, go ahead and mark up. So I could see it a couple different ways, right? The reason why I'm leaning towards just continuations to the downside, right, and this is just that break of structure, like Ray mentioned, is because I'm also including the fundamentals, right? So I think the fundamentals is like the main reason why I'm leaning that way, right? And again, we can be completely wrong here, right? This market could say, nope, we're actually going to go ahead and gain some strength and we'll start to, mark up to the upside, right? And that's very possible, all right? And if it happens, cool. It's the best thing about being a day trader is that we're able to adjust, right? We can always adjust. If it needs adjusting, trust me, we're going to adjust, right? And obviously change our bias if it's absolutely necessary overall. All right, but that's just a little quick perspective, family, on what we think the dollar is going to do. Again, I do think we are going to see more upside to start the week, but overall, I think we end the week off more bearish, more to the downside. So that's interesting overall. Let's go take a look at now gold, which I've been trading gold lately. I've been bouncing around this year, man. I went from focusing on my favorite pairs, which was like GJ and EU, right? Like I used to really trade those pairs like crazy, right? And then I ended up trading, switching to more so focusing on indices, which I did for around a month or two. And now I'm really liking gold, man. So I've been really dialed into gold. Family in the chat, man. What pairs are you guys focusing on? Like, what are your guys' go-to pairs that you guys like to trade? Like, what is the one pair you open up as soon as you check TradingView? What's your favorite pairs, family? Let me know in the chat. Right, and by the way, we did have for the poll, 68% of you guys think that the dollar is going to turn bullish, and 32% of you guys think it's going to go bearish. That's interesting, right? So 68% of you guys, or 69%, believe, right, the opposite of what I believe. All right. Now again, you could be the genius, and I could be completely wrong here, right? But that's just an interesting, interesting thing there that 69% of you guys think is actually going to go bullish, right? So we'll see. Time will tell on how that goes. All right, time will tell on how that goes for sure. But let's take a look at the gold real quick, family, because gold is very, very interesting. All right, I'm actually going to be keeping my eye on gold for sure this up and coming week to see what we can actually get here. Right now, I want to go ahead and start off by going to the bigger time from the weekly, right? I'm going to the weekly because I really want to see how the previous weekly candles ended up closing. Right, so we had a very strong week 2 weeks ago, and then we had a week that ended up bullish, right? But we were a lot higher before we continued to, or before we found some selling pressure to close the week at around that 1960s level. Now, what do I think can actually happen moving forward this week? I'm a little torn, to be honest with you, because I could see it going either direction. All right, because to be honest with you, I am long-term bullish gold. All right, I am long-term bullish gold. I do want to look for opportunities to buy this thing. All right, I really do. But where can we actually look for opportunities from? I'm gonna be honest, right? The level that we're kind of playing now is actually a very interesting level. Not even gonna lie, right? Like we're testing previous structure. We're starting to find this support. All right, obviously, if only time will tell to see if that actually holds or not. But just looking for areas to enter this market around these levels is probably not too bad of an idea. Now, I do have this entire level marked off that I'm interested in personally. Right, so if we can continue to stay above this 1960, then I will be looking for longs. But there's also another area that I'm interested in as well. All right, and that's a little bit lower, probably down towards, yeah, I would say around these levels down here, right around the 1936, I would say. Right, 1936s, 1937s, right? Anywhere within this range could be another area where we look for some longs, right? So it's either we're going to continue to respect the level we're at now and then start to go higher, in my opinion, or we could see a little bit more downside, maybe towards that 1937, 1938, and then from there, I'll be looking for more reasons to go long. But my bias is that I am bullish and I'm looking for reasons to go long here. That is my bias here for gold. Okay, so whatever happens overnight, I don't care, right? Because I don't trade gold during the night. I trade it during New York session. So if we're still trading around these levels, by the time I wake up in the morning and we're chilling, then I might look for some reasons to go ahead and go in. Right? Anywhere between, again, above the 1960s would be phenomenal, but anywhere within this range, we could really find reasons to go ahead and obviously go long here for gold. So yeah, depending on where we're at when we wake up, then I will be looking for longs. Now, if we dropped overnight during London session, then I would probably expect us to come and retest the 1940s, right? Like if we're below this 1960s level by the morning, then I think that there's actually a chance that we continue to go a little bit lower, probably fill some of these wicks, take out some of these lows right here, and then from there, look for a reason to go long, right? So that's just a little thing that I'm looking at for gold. Again, who knows what actually happens here? I could be completely wrong on this, or I could be completely right. Either way, what I do know that I'm going to do is manage my risk every single time I enter a position. All right, that's all I could do. All right, I find my setup, I take the trade, I manage the risk correctly, and then I deal with the outcome. Right, whether it's good or bad, I don't really care. I deal with it, and then I go ahead and try to find the next setup. Perfect. All right, so let's see what you guys are thinking at. I'm in at that level from last week, 1955s. Yep, 1955 is right around that area, right? If we can stay above that, anywhere above 1955, 1960s, I think we can see more upside for sure. What if it goes to 1950 then buys up? That's possible as well. I mean, again, it could come all the way back down just to test these lows. It really could. right? But the reason why I'm playing this level right here is because this level is actually pretty significant. Right, like this level right here, this 19, again, 60s, 1958s, anywhere around this zone is actually a pretty significant level, right? It's a level that has acted as both support and resistance numerous times in the past, right? I mean, you can go all the way back, right? It's acted as both support and resistance numerous times in the past, right? So I think that if we actually get below this 1958, 1960s, 1955, I know it's a little bit of a wider range, but if we get below this level, then I don't see no reason why we don't come down and start to test, you know, some of the structure down here even lower below the 1940s. So it's possible. And I'll be ready if it happens, you know, and plays off that 1950, but I would be probably expecting a little bit more downside if that was the case. All right, so let's see, been in the sell since 1981. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice drop though. Since 1981, that's all the way up here. Dang, let's get it. That looks good. That looks good, Chino. You said you targeted 1947. Okay, so you're pretty much targeting right back down to these structure lows. Interesting. Yeah, I mean overall, you're already in so much profit, bro. You can't go wrong. Just make sure, obviously, you you manage that, you know, those trades accordingly. But that's really gonna be my main focus for this week, family. It's definitely gonna be gold. I'm gonna be paying attention to it a lot, because that's really what I want to trade this up and coming week. So that's pretty much gonna be my main focus for sure, right? So if any of the guys, you know, Ray, Kyle, I want you guys to go ahead and take over the screen share and definitely, you know, give some insight into what you guys are going to be personally looking at in this up and coming week. All right, so go ahead and do y'all thing, whichever one of you guys want to take over.
That um, let me just go ahead and
What are you going to be
load
looking at for
up.
this week, Kyle? You going to be looking at UCAT again? Is that your go-to or not really?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be watching it. Um, you know, I personally, you know, I'm always looking at USD CAD, so there's definitely not a week that goes by that I'm not looking at it.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi today. My Wi-Fi is not even letting me load up TradingView. So
Okay, well, let me take a look at UCAT, see what we got here. Let's see. UCAT is actually pretty interesting as well. Now, keep in mind, right, we just had CAD news that came out last week as well, right? If I remember correctly, last week was, what was it? I'll tell you guys right now. Last week we had CPI data that came out for the CAD. I think, was there more? Retail sales as well. All right, so from the data alone, all right, they had CPI that came out lower than expected across the board. All right, which did what to the actual CAD? Well, it actually made the CAD gain strength, which is what caused the drop here on USD CAD. Is that something that continues to follow through, right? Do we think we see more sell side here for USD CAD possibly? I would be leaning towards that. Again, I am already expecting some bearishness in the dollar overall, right? But now when you look at the CAD itself, right, looking very good, looking very healthy. I think that there is a possibility for USD CAD to possibly continue a little bit lower. All right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's possible. All right,
I
that's what I was
agree.
looking for. Let me see. You said you
I
agree?
agree for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, my I think finally loaded up. So we here. But no, I agree with that bias. Personally, you know, I've been bearish on USD CAD for quite some time now. And, you know, just looking at the close of this weekly candle, right, I do still feel like we have some possibility to test off of that and continue going to the downside. It's just all about when we would get it. So, you know, we did have this slight bullish end to the week last week. I didn't call like an official signal for it, but I was kind of letting you guys know I was looking for USD CAD buys around this area. I think when we woke up for New York session at 8 a.m., we were at right about here. So this is where the market was. I was letting you guys know I was looking for those longs, but it would just, the risk to reward just didn't really match up with what I wanted. You would have been up about like a 1-4 right now. I probably would have closed out majority at about a 1-3. So, it was worthwhile for sure. Maybe if you would have ran the stop like this, that's probably something that I should have done. But I wasn't so antsy to get into the buy. Last week was all about that USD CAD buy. But I don't think personally that this is going to hold for a very long time. I do think that there's some liquidity building up, and we've got to move price up in an efficient manner. And then in turn, since we're moving efficiently in this price action, there's some inefficient price action that has been left behind up here into these ranges. So, overall, we need to be efficient across all ends of the market. Like over here, we retested every gap that was left behind and, slowly traded up and then created that massive sell-off. So I'm looking for that same kind of price action to develop here on the USD CAD. So, I want to see like one more wave up. Maybe we can trade up into this range right over here, and then we can start getting that sell off. So, how that would look on the 4-hour, if you were to ask me for a specific candle that we were looking at, I would say more so in this range. I would prefer the higher range because obviously that's a breaker bounce point. It's either going to play off that or it's going to break and start going bullish. So I don't want it to go bullish. I would prefer that we do continue down off of this level, and it fits all my criteria because we have some liquidity and we can retest off of that. But at the same time, USD CAD sometimes just likes to continue off of order flow. So there is the possibility that we trade off of this, since there's news on the earlier part of the week. There's a possibility that we could play off of that as well. So I'll be keeping an eye out on these two levels here on USD CAD, and start shorting a lot more entry prone once we start getting into these levels. So if we get the reaction that I want up here, then I definitely will take a stab. If not, then I'll just scrap the whole idea and wait for up here. And if the market decides to go bullish, then it decides to go bullish. But I'm not gonna go bullish preemptively and then start missing out on the sells because I was so focused on buying. So yeah, that's more so the same idea that I have as Abel, like you just said. I'm just going to be playing these supply and demand candles. So this supply candle right over here, and this supply candle right over here. These supply candles are the candles that really spark my interest for getting into the market for the shorts. So take that as you wish, guys. I do feel like this right here is just more so like redistribution. We spiked some highs with this candle right over here. So, it makes sense that we trade off of this and start going and continuing more towards the downside. I know we were looking at DXY. DXY is in an interesting spot because we are looking more towards the bearish side. But at the end of the day, if we look on these time frames, like we still have some more imbalance to fill before we get some of that downside trading. So I'm gonna take this day by day. I'm not gonna really, I'm not gonna really force anything out of the market until the market tells me to do so. So for now, I am long-term bearish on the dollar, but I can't really give you an entry point at this specific time because there's not enough data telling me to enter anywhere that we're currently at. And even over here, you were to ask me, where is the next point of time and where's the next point of interest where you would look to go on bearish dollar trades, I would look towards here. I would look a lot higher. I would look towards this daily supply candle, and that would be the area that I would look for shorting again. But by all means, this thing has been shorting, and the volatility and the momentum towards the downside has been massive. So, obviously I would love for it to come all the way up here, but there's no guarantee that we'll come all the way up here. If we come all the way up here, I'll tell you guys right away, I'll be aggressively shorting the dollar. This is like a break or bounce point for the dollar to come up here and mitigate. But like I said, at the end of the day, something could form tomorrow and we can spike this high and then start doing something like this as well. So there's the possibility of something like this happening as well, where we just slowly start off the week slightly bullish and then start breaking structure and trading down as well. So on the dollar, I'm still potentially bearish. Like I said, I don't really have much data to give you guys a specific entry, but this is kind of something that I would be leaning more towards. On the EU, same kind of analysis here, right? There's not enough data for me to tell you guys, I'm looking to, because again, there is a possibility of us continuing a little bit more to the downside. So even though I am bullish, I'm sitting on my hands for a little bit because I want to wait for the perfect setup, right? You don't want to be getting into the market, even if you know where the market is going, even though I know for a fact that we will drop a little bit more in EU. I know for a fact we need to fill some of this imbalance. Market is pushing to fill this imbalance over here, right? I know that for a fact the market will push for this imbalance, but I believe Euro is going to start the week off very bearish, similar to my dollar bias. I believe the dollar is going to start off the week a lot more bullish. So that would only make sense. The Euro is going to start off the week a lot more bearish. So, if you're trading in the earlier parts of this week, then, wait for these imbalances to get filled, right? These imbalances, price needs to be moving efficiently at all times. So whichever imbalance gets filled first, that's going to tell me which direction of the market I'm looking to trade in, right? So let's say this imbalance gets filled in the earlier part of this week. I'll probably keep stacking on Euro USD sells. Let's say we just start dropping immediately to start the week, then I would just be waiting for this imbalance to fill and then go long from there. So that's my bias here on Euro USD. Wait for imbalances to get filled and start taking your entries tentatively. GBP USD, it's a little bit of a weird scenario here as well. I'm still in the mindset here that GU still has some room to drop before going up. So maybe we can mitigate off of this candle right over here and we can get some type of action. Who knows, maybe we come down and build this. Yeah, I would say we've got another leg down on GU, similar to EU. We've got that one more dollar bullish spike in us. I don't think dollar is ready to go bearish right this second. Still long term bear the dollar, but right this second we're not in the position of time, and there's not enough data telling me that right now is the entry of the dollar going bearish now, right? You know, these type of things happen where earlier part of the week we'll start off bullish and then we'll get what we want. So that's the same type of idea I have on GU. I don't have a setup for you guys currently, but if I were to give you guys something, I'll tell you guys to wait for the initial bearish spike down and then start trading towards the upside. Once you get that bearish spike down, look for it to hit off of this demand candle over here and trade off of that. Look for some lower time frame confirmations off of that, and then continue buying up GU. GU is heavily bullish, so you know, any type of spike down that we can get, I would definitely buy it back up. So look for initial spikes down on things like GU and EU to start buying back up. Look for initial spike ups on USD CAD so we can start shorting it towards the downside. And overall, just stock entries on bearish dollar, and you should have a great week as long as things go according to our plan. Of course, the plan that you have on Sunday might not be the plan that you have on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's the same for me as well. So I like to take things day by day. I don't like to have a bias where I'm like, yo, this week it's gonna do this. Obviously, even though I am more confident on the bearish dollar side, things could change. There are news events and there are economic releases that are going to be happening during this week. So, you know, I like to take things day by day, where you know, wherever the market's at when I wake up is gonna give me more of a reason to short or long the market. So whatever I'm seeing when I wake up, you know, that's more data. That's the most amount of data that I can currently see the market has printed. And if you're researching something or you're trading, you're gonna always want to use the most amount of data. So, you know, whenever I wake up tomorrow morning on the live trade room for the premium members, I'll give you guys more of an insight, and I'll give you guys more trade ideas and more live real-time trade ideas, because that's what we do in the live trade room. You know, we trade with you guys live. We give you guys live trade ideas, and we give you guys live insight on what we think the market is going to do inside of our own minds, inside the mind of a professional trader, sifting through the data, sifting through the market economic releases and the news releases to give you guys a live insight of what we're thinking, how we're feeling, how our emotions are during the time of trading, and how our accounts are managed in live trade environments. So if you're not a part of the premium, we are doing a 14-day free trial. So hit the link in our description, hit the link in the chat box. If somebody could drop the link in the chat box to let everybody know that there is a 14-day free trial going on. So take advantage of that. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for the week. I will drop that in the YouTube chat for you guys if somebody didn't already. But stay tuned in with us for sure. Ray, you know, I'm actually curious to see what you have on GU, because you know, I'm kind of looking more towards this side, but you know, I'd love to see. I don't know if you are. I think you are focusing more on NAS 100. So I'm not going to say I want to see your GU. And you know, if you're not trading it, then don't trade it. But
no, I mean, I can take a look at just about whatever, bro. But I'll go ahead and grab the screen real quick.
bet.
But yeah, shout out to
And
everybody.
I just dropped the link in the chat.
Word. Shout out to everybody for continuously giving value. But so far as GU is concerned, I am gonna take a shot at this just because obviously a lot of us is anticipating a little bit more bullishness on the dollar. But for me, I think if you're gonna continue bearish on the dollar, at least just for a little bit. I do see that point of interest you see down here, but just for me personally, I'm just gonna take a shot at this low potentially holding up because it did actually, create liquidity. We had our or take liquidity, I should say. We actually, had our 3 drives here where we are trying to transition higher. I do believe we'll probably push a little higher. And then will be us, creating some weak lows before we push a little bit higher, breaking some structure here. And then I want to see us potentially respect this low. And reason being is because this actually happened like a week or two ago. And I missed it, like over analyzing a little bit too much. I'm trying to remember. I think it was, over here. But it's a little longer than a couple weeks ago, right? About 3 weeks ago. I saw the market, take lows. Then as it started, after it took lows, it started creeping up a little bit, creating liquidity. And then once that got taken, it respected this low and then pushed up. So for me, I want to see something similar to that happen with current price. I see a pretty similar pattern forming here where we did sweep lows. Now we're starting to consolidate a bit. I do want to see the market just come back down a little. We take out this low, but respect this low here and then go bullish. All right. So that's what I'll be looking for on GU. Specifically, I'm looking at 1.2836, 1.2836. Again, 1.2836. Have about a 20 pip stop loss on that trade with about 200 pip take profit if possible. Maybe not as much, but I'm just at least trying to get back to past equilibrium of that trading range. So I'm going for at least about 135 pips. Once I take out the equilibrium of the trading range, I'll start seeing if I could switch my analysis a bit and start seeing if I can anticipate some sales. But I do believe that I'll come up at least to take out these highs, and anything that happens after that will just be icing on top. So this will be where I secure most of my profit right about here. Anything after that is just a bonus for me. But yeah, I am anticipating some bullishness on GU. All right. So as I continue, let's see what else we got. So GU, I think it could possibly drop from there, but I'm more confident in GU than I am GJ personally. I mark up everything, so that's why I'm looking at that. I'm looking at GBP CAD for buys. If you guys want the entry, stop loss, take profit is right here. So that's what I'll be looking for. Now, the thing about it is it could drop now to that point of entry, or the market could push up and could play around and eventually come back to that area later on in the week. Just I can't tell you for certain when it's gonna get to 1.69265. I don't know for certain when it's gonna get there, but when it does get here, that's when I'm gonna buy it. So, this might be a situation where you might want to set an alert. Because again, if the market does want to keep going up, this could happen, tomorrow. Might not happen tonight. Might happen day after tomorrow. I can't tell you for certain. All I can tell you is that this is the price that I'm looking at. Okay. So once we get down there, that's where I'll personally be looking for opportunities. All right. Um, y'all know me, I like to just go down the list. I did just miss this entry on GA, but if it comes back up, I'll take another shot at it. I was looking for some sales. I'll mark this up a little earlier. So, here's pretty much two options for it. And this is why I want you guys to, trade the proper way. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to trade in a way that allows you to take a loss every now and then. The way I like to explain it is, you're just trying to get on base. You might strike out a couple times. You're just trying to get on base. Then every now and then you have that homer with the bases loaded. That's the one that you got your grand slam trades. That's your 1 to 10, 1 to 15, 1 to 20, 1 to 25. Those types of trades. They don't come every time, but they will happen every now and then, right? But at the same time, you do have opportunities in situations, I should say, where you strike out, right? But in baseball, they give you 3 chances to hit the ball. They give you 3 chances to get on base. So you as a trader, you need to trade in a way where you have multiple chances to get it right. It shouldn't just be one and done. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I can have an idea about a point of interest, but at the end of the day, how many times have we all seen a trade that got a point of interest, then it got another potential one right there, and then you take your trade right here, right? You want to take your trade right here, and then the market does this. Right? It'll come take you out, and then it'll drop, right? So if you only trade in like one and done type attitude, you're not going to be able to account for the times where you might choose the wrong point of interest. So, you got to be able to adjust, you know what I'm saying? So just with that, make sure you're trading in a way that allows you to lose and still be profitable at the end of the day. Like for me, I can take 2-3 shots at a trade before I reach my daily, drawdown limit. You know what I mean? So that's just for me. I have multiple points of interest. I'm taking my first one right here. I did miss that sniper entry up there. So hopefully it don't tank, because I mean, I'll be sick if that happened, because I did miss this sell last week. I had it marked up ready, but I didn't, pull the trigger on it. Y'all probably remember from the last weekly outlook we did, I was talking about this zone right here. And then it hit for a perfect like 1 to 15 or 1 to 20, something like that. So hopefully the same thing don't happen to me here. Hopefully the market does want to pop up and retest that high so I can get my entry. But ultimately, I do see GA probably going bearish this week. If it doesn't go bearish from here again, I'll try it again after I clear out this high here. All right. So that's that. GN, not really interested. Y'all so sick. I missed that EU sale. And one thing about trading, y'all, like it happens to the best of us, where it's like you missed the trade you really wanted to take, but then you took one that even if it win, you may not have won as much as you could have won if you took the other trade. Like I took EJ last week, and don't get me wrong, like I caught 130 pips, but just with the risk to reward on this one would have been a much better trade because on EJ I was risking like 30 pips. So even though I got 130 out of it, it was still just like a 1-4. You know what I mean? But this right here would have been like a 1-14. So, I say that to say this, like it happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us where, sometimes you miss those trades that you really want. One of the best ways to fix that is really just cutting down on the trades that you take. Like, me being more experienced, I take a look at all pairs. But if you new, you got to be able to realize like 1 to 3 pairs is more than enough to help you reach your goals. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're trying to make, say, 10% a month, 15% a month, like you can definitely do that off of 1 pair. Like this trade right here is a 1 to 19. If I get this buy that I'm looking for, that could be about a 1 to 10 just about. And it's like, you just get a couple of these opportunities a month and you're good. Even if you take a handful of losses, just a couple of these bangers a month can set you up nicely. So, maybe cut back on the pairs. That's one thing I've been doing more of. I probably need to cut back even more, but I have cut back on some of the pairs that I used to trade just for that reason there. But so far as EuroCAD, the reason why I am somewhat bullish on it is because we have cleared out all these lows that was being created. We cleared it out. We did push into this sell before the buy area here. And typically, I don't necessarily go for these types of candles typically, but the reaction did catch my attention. The hezzy, I got a crossover. I got weak lows, internal range, liquidity forming. So if I do get my move back to, 1.4655, that's where I'll be taking buys on EuroCAD. All right. So GBP CAD and EuroCAD both, I'm looking for some, potential long opportunities there. I believe this was, what was this, last Sunday maybe? It was one of those days, maybe Tuesday or something like that. Took this sell here. This was the one that went for like 130 before it reversed on me. And that's that. We took some sales here too, but it just came down to here. We didn't actually break lows. And I'm mad at myself for not looking at this more objectively because at the end of the day, I knew it was going to buy. Like when I saw this whole pattern play out here, we cleared out those lows and I saw how weak these highs was. Something in my soul told me it would have been a nice buy, but I was already in the sale, so I just had to live with that decision. But moving forward, Euro JPY. We did clear highs on the 4-hour. Maybe we come back, clear them again, because that was a very minor sweep of liquidity. Not saying that minor sweeps can't get the job done. I'm just thinking maybe it has one more in it, because although this is a minor sweep of liquidity, the highs still look a little weird for me. So I'm thinking maybe, maybe we get that. And then it really lets you know that it's ready, I'm thinking maybe something like that on Euro JPY. But that we still got time for that. That still gotta play out. Nas 100. I know y'all been waiting on that one. I'm still bearish on this for the moment, right? It does depend on it does somewhat depend on the way this whole thing plays out, because it's one or two options for me. If I break these lows first, I'm not going to be as interested in the sales as if these lows hold up, right? So if these lows hold up, I want the market to come back up here, and I'm probably gonna take another jab at the sell. But again, if the market just breaks lower, I may not be as interested in that sell. I just got to see how the market is forming over time. But for right now, I see that as being potential targets. I see this being potential strong highs. So just for me, I'm gonna wait for the market to retrace, clear out some highs, and then I'll take that market lower. All right. Pretty simple considering the overall momentum is still pretty bearish. Every fiber in me, it doesn't know why I didn't take this sell. It's funny because I took a little buy because US 30 was buying and Nas was lagging behind. So I took a buy and I TP'd at the highs because I figured that would be the turning point. Now I do remember what happened actually. Now that I'm talking myself through it, I do remember what happened. I took a sell, it started dropping, then my break even got hit, then it fell off a cliff. That's the other thing. Like that's mistakes that even us still make. Like going break even a little too early. Yeah, I do remember what happened. So I took a buy here because US 30 was buying, but Nas was lagging behind. Then I took profit at the highs because I figured that that was where the market wanted to go. It was like a real small buy, like tiny stop loss, all of that. It was like some lower time frame scalping. Then, I got in here, market started dropping. Then I go break even. Once I moved my stop loss to break even, it came back to the entry. Sometime I was probably at the gym, wasn't paying attention. And then this huge ass move happened. So I don't know how much that could have been on that trade, but stuff happens. I'm just looking for the continuation right now. Shallow retracement, nothing crazy, but I do feel like the market has a little bit lower to go. I wanted to kind of reach 15, 15,300 around there. 15,300. Start taking a look at it around there. Once we get down there, I'll take another look, see what happens. So right now, sell to start the week. We could possibly midweek or so, we could possibly see some buy opportunities step in. All right. I don't really feel like looking at too many yen pairs right now. So so far as gold is concerned, I do agree that it can go bullish a little later on, but I think it can go a little bit lower. I don't feel like this low is gonna hold up. Just it has a lot of selling pressure in that low. The buying pressure was not as strong and convincing as the seller. And I'm just looking at the candle. Obviously, the market made a higher high. So obviously the buyers took control, but just that candle right there is not a candle I really want to buy from. I think the market can come down to 1945. And from 1945, I'll be more open-minded to some buys. just to the simple fact that we do have this little candle resting out over here, little sell to buy candle resting over there. And it is resting directly underneath this candle here. So just with that, that is a reason for me to look at this as inducement. And that could be the area that we actually buy off of. So considering that, I'm looking for somewhere I could sell from. So, hopefully the market can get back up here. If not, it'll just keep dropping. But for me, I want to take some sales on gold at, 1966. All right, 1966, about a 20 to 25 pip stop should be more than enough. And then we'll have like a nice 1 to 9 type of trade set up. All right. That's about it for me though. That's about it for me. Like, I don't want to take too much time just, speculating. There's nothing that I can get in right now. So all I could do right now is kind of give you guys my idea and my biases on the market. So obviously we're looking at GCAD, EuroCAD, GU, gold, NAS. All of these pairs still have to move a little bit more. So when they do move into their positions, we'll see what they do. All right. So I'm bullish GCAD, bullish ECAD, bullish GU, long-term bullish gold, but I'm selling for now. And then on NAS, I see a sell coming up soon, and I see a potentially longer buy in the future. All right. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at, guys. I ain't got nothing else after that, though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you definitely went through a nice little arsenal of different potential plays. So, family, hopefully you guys are taking notes of all these different setups that are being called out. Obviously, if you are a part of the premium, then you'll actually be able to watch us trade these things in real time if they're actually setting up during New York session, which is phenomenal. So hopefully we are, preparing ourselves for an absolutely phenomenal week, right? But we do have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Skaggs in the building as well. I don't know if he has anything that he wants to touch up on really quickly, because obviously he did come on a little bit later.
Yeah, good evening, bro. I don't really have any charts to go over, to be honest, family. We could wrap it up there. I'm in agreement with a lot of what was discussed. There's no reason to beat the horse completely dead here. But that being said, family, if you guys want to trade live with us for the next 2 weeks, make sure you guys cop that free trial that's pinned in the chats. Other than that, I'll see you guys on those sessions, completely free to you guys. Maybe we'll catch a bunch of pips, trade together, have some fun, have a good week. There's lots of news. Again, I could sum up my entire bias, and then I'm pretty much looking bullish dollar for the beginning of the week and then ending the week on a possible bearish note. But I think even that's a little bit unlikely. So I'm looking pretty much bullish for a majority of the week, but a lot of the boys discussed that. So yeah, those are the only thoughts I have, man. You could wrap it up if you want.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, family, we do appreciate you guys for tuning in as usual. If you guys are not a part of the Discord, make sure to get in the Discord. If you guys did not sign up for your 2 free week trial that we are actually giving right now, you can literally trade live with us for the next 2 weeks for free and to see how you like how we operate. But besides that, make sure to be in the Discord. Make sure to go ahead and sign up, and we'll see you guys next week. Family, appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your guys' night.